FBI Director Kash Patel making a big move to save taxpayers billions as he finalizes details to shut the Hoover building headquarters, moving the FBI out of D.C. while getting the FBI agents back into the field. It's all part of their push for transparency after alleged politically motivated scandals under Biden. Our next guest was President Trump's attorney when the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago in 2022 and claims he never saw as many irregularities in a case. Former Trump attorney and former DOJ prosecutor Jim Trusty joining us now to explain. Jim, you had just an important op-ed in the Wall Street Journal on Friday. I think a lot of people are starting to talk about it. But first, I wanted to get to the shuttering of the Hoover building. As someone who for decades has driven down E Street past that monstrosity of a building, the FBI building on E Street, about 6th or 7th in E Street. But it's not just about shuttering an old building. It's about saving billions and getting these agents into the field. What do you anticipate we're going to see in the new year?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, the Honeycomb is a long obsolete building, and there's a lot that needs fixing. I actually think it's not even just about the economics. It's not just about getting agents into the field, which is certainly important and something that was overdue. But it's really a signal of a cultural change. You know, we need a massive change from the Comey and Wray years. We need something that really shakes up the institution to revive it, to get it back to being a place where people are respected and heralded as the best in law enforcement. So I welcome it. I mean, look, I'm glad they're staying in the D.C. area. I remember Senator Byrd wanted to move everything to West Virginia at one point, which I thought was going to be crazy. But they're due for some change. So here it comes.
They are. And to your point, Jim, it's worth noting that the trust in the FBI, the nation's premier law enforcement agency, has been lost in ways perhaps unprecedented over the previous administration. It seems that may be the larger task that Kash Patel is trying to lean into to restore.
Yeah, and that's the hard part. But look, you know, I was a federal prosecutor for 17 years, prosecutor one place or another for 27. I've got friends within the FBI, friends that retired from it. And you know, outside of the political class, and again, this goes back to Comey in particular, outside of that group, you had a lot of hardworking, good agents, and they were the ones that would tell me behind the scenes, keep fighting. And so there's a lot that needs change there. I think that Patel seems to be up to the task. He seems to want to change the culture, and it's going to take time. And the more they have success stories of, you know, stopping terrorist incidents and not targeting parents at school board meetings or claiming that, you know, the biggest threat to America are a bunch of guys sitting in the woods drinking beer. You know, I think most Americans know better, and they can return to that core mission and do what's right to protect this country. So I think it's going to take some time, but it seems like we're moving in the right direction.
Surely take time. Let me ask you about that op-ed I mentioned. You, of course, were an attorney for President Trump at the time of the 2022 Mar-a-Lago raid. Your piece, the headline, "The Scandal of the Mar-a-Lago Raid. I have never seen a case with so many irregularities with such manifest political motivation." Tell us more about that.
Yeah, well, you know, as somebody that had been around the criminal justice system for, I guess, about 32 years at that point, you know, I feel like I've got a pretty good sense of how things typically work, how investigations unfold, what's fair game, what's not fair game. And what we kept seeing was just individualized, singular treatment for President Trump. You know, no attorney-client privilege, no executive privilege, no ability to do what the Presidential Records Act contemplates, which is just negotiating back and forth with the National Archives. And so the criminalization of that, which is starting to kind of creep out through some emails that are released that show the FBI was pushing back against DOJ, saying, why are we criminalizing this? Why are we doing grand jury subpoenas? Why are we doing search warrants? I mean, that's the kind of ultimate truth that I think needs to play out for history and for reform of places like DOJ and the FBI. So the more the current administration will dig and look for those internal communications and interview people and investigate cases where burn bags were filled with critical documents from FBI leadership, I mean, the more they can do now to address that, the better chance we have of regaining some faith in criminal justice or federal criminal justice when it comes to the DOJ and the FBI.
Well, it sure seems there are so many open questions remaining surrounding that raid. And your op-ed, I would recommend it to our viewers in the Wall Street Journal to go and read it, because it certainly brings a lot into light. Jim Trusty, thank you for taking time, and Happy New Year.
Sure. Good to see you, Griff. You too.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.